I always believed blood was thicker than water. That family, no matter how flawed, was sacred, especially my sister, Vanessa. We grew up close, shared secrets, late-night talks, and even matching tattoos when we turned 18. People used to say we were more like twins than siblings, but now I know that closeness, it was the perfect cover, because when I needed her most, when I was broken and defenseless, she didn't just betray me, she stole something from me that I can never get back. It started 3 years ago. I was 29, pregnant and terrified. Not because I didn't want the baby, no, I wanted this child more than anything, but because I was alone. The baby's father, Ryan, had ghosted me the moment he saw the 2 pink lines. I remember sitting on the bathroom floor clutching the test, shaking. I called him, texted, even drove to his apartment. Nothing. He just disappeared. So I turned to the only person I could trust, Vanessa. She showed up that same night with ice cream, tissues, and a blanket, held me as I cried, told me we'd get through it together, said she'd be my birth partner, my rock, the godmother. I know how much you want this, she whispered one night as we lay side by side like we used to as kids. And I'll be there every step of the way. At the time, I thought she meant it. Vanessa always struggled with infertility. She and her husband, Greg, had been trying for years. Miscarriages, failed IVF, endless doctor visits. It broke her. I remember once finding her in the bathroom, crying into a pile of baby clothes she'd bought during one of their hopeful phases. I don't know what's wrong with me, she sobbed. Why does it happen so easily for others and not for me? I didn't have answers, only hugs and silence. So when I got pregnant, unexpectedly, I felt this deep guilt, like I'd stolen something she wanted, even though I hadn't meant to. I asked her once, nervously, if it hurt her to watch me grow bigger knowing she couldn't. She smiled, tight-lipped, and said, "It hurts. But I love you. And I love this baby. So I'll survive." I should have seen it then. The way her fingers clenched around the edge of the table, the way her voice wobbled even as she forced a smile. But I was too caught up in my own world. The pregnancy was tough. Morning sickness, exhaustion, anxiety. I had to quit my job at 5 months because I was fainting too often. Vanessa moved in to help me. Said Greg was working overseas on a project. She'd stay until the baby was born. I was so grateful. She cooked, cleaned, rubbed my feet, talked to my belly every night like she was already the baby's second mom. At one point, I even joked, "You're more excited than I am." She just laughed, but there was something in her eyes. A hunger I didn't recognize. The due date approached. My OB scheduled a C-section. Something about the baby's position and my blood pressure. I was nervous, scared of the surgery, scared of becoming a single mom, scared of doing it all alone. Vanessa promised she'd be there, held my hand while they wheeled me into the prep room, kissed my forehead. "You're going to meet your baby today," she whispered, "and everything will change." She wasn't wrong. That morning is a blur. The anesthesia, the bright lights, the nurse's voice counting down, and then black. I don't remember waking up. I was told later that I crashed mid-surgery, a rare reaction. They had to put me into a medically induced coma to stabilize me for 10 days, 10 whole days. When I finally came to, it felt like emerging from a fog. My throat was raw, my arms sore. Machines beeped softly around me, but all I cared about was one thing. "Where's my baby?" I croaked. The nurse looked confused, then left to get someone. Vanessa entered the room moments later, tears already brimming in her eyes. She rushed to my side. "You're awake," she breathed. "Thank God." I grabbed her wrist. "Where's the baby?" She hesitated, then said something that made my blood run cold. "She didn't make it." I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move, I just stared at her, shaking my head. "No," I whispered. "No, that's not. I need to see her." Vanessa shook her head gently. "They already took care of everything. The doctors didn't think it would help your recovery to see her." "I'm so sorry," I screamed, sobbed, thrashed until nurses came in and sedated me again. My daughter, my baby girl, gone, no warning, no explanation. The grief swallowed me whole. When they released me from the hospital days later, I didn't want to go home. But Vanessa packed my things, took me back to our apartment, except things were different. Her demeanor, her voice, the way she avoided eye contact when I brought up the baby. I asked for details, a death certificate, a footprint, a photo. She said the hospital hadn't given her anything, that it was all too traumatic. I started to feel like I was losing my mind. And then, one night, I walked past her bedroom door, heard something, a cooing sound, a lullaby. My heart stopped. I knocked. No answer. I pushed the door open. Empty. No baby, no sound. Just Vanessa standing by the window, holding something behind her back. She turned, smiled. "You startled me," she said. I looked around. Nothing seemed out of place, but my gut screamed something was wrong. I wish I had trusted it. Because that night was just the beginning of the unraveling, of the cracks and the lies. I started asking questions, calling the hospital, except they wouldn't release anything to me. Said there was no record of a baby in my name, no birth, no death, nothing. I asked Vanessa if she signed anything on my behalf. She denied it. I was spiraling. Was I crazy? Had I imagined the entire thing? But then, 2 weeks later, I saw her. A photo on someone else's phone, a baby, my baby, alive. The days after coming home from the hospital were a fog of painkillers, tears, and awkward silences. The nursery, once a dream painted in soft blues and starlight patterns, was now a museum of broken promises. I couldn't walk past it without collapsing inside. My husband, Adam, tried to be strong for me, but I could see he was breaking too. He stopped touching the tiny socks that hung on the crib rails. He stopped talking about the future. He just shut down. But not Emma. Emma seemed to grow brighter. She'd sit with me on the couch, hold my hand, brush my hair like she used to when we were kids. She'd whisper, "You'll heal, Mia. We'll get through this together." And for a moment I believed her. But sometimes when I looked into her eyes, there was something I couldn't place. Like she was holding back something massive. I didn't understand it yet, but soon I would. 2 weeks after I came home, Emma and her husband Ryan invited us to their house. They said it was for a small lunch. Something quiet, just family. I didn't want to go. I hadn't left the house since returning from the hospital. But Adam convinced me, said it might help me feel normal again. So I got dressed, pale, hollow, bones aching, and we drove across town. When I stepped inside her house, I froze. There were balloons, a cake, white roses, and in the middle of the room, a baby, wrapped in a lacy white gown, cradled in Emma's arms. My breath left my body. "What is this?" I asked, voice trembling. Emma smiled, too wide, too proud. "It's his baptism," she said, as if that explained anything. "We adopted. in 2 weeks. I couldn't move. Adam put a hand on my shoulder, but I shrugged him off. Emma, what do you mean you adopted? She waved it off. It was private, very fast. The agency knew we were looking, it just happened. The room spun. I walked over to the crib and looked down. The baby was tiny, pink, healthy. His hair was dark like Adam's. I backed away. Something was wrong. So wrong. That night I couldn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Emma's smile, that baby, that gown. Adopted in 2 weeks? Impossible, illegal even. And he looked like number I couldn't even think it. I got out of bed, tiptoed to the nursery, and sat in the rocking chair. The one I never used. The one I once imagined feeding my son in. That's when I realized I still didn't know what hospital records said about my baby. They told me I was unconscious, that he was born blue, didn't make it. But I never saw a death certificate. I never saw his body. It was all so fast. I whispered into the dark, am I going crazy? But I already knew the answer. I wasn't crazy, I was being lied to. The next morning I called the hospital, asked to speak to the nurse who had been in the delivery room that night. They told me she'd transferred to another facility, 2 states away. I asked for a forwarding number. They refused. But I found her. Her name was Marissa Grant. I tracked her down on Facebook, then messaged her anonymously. We arranged a call. At first, she was hesitant. I don't remember every patient, she said. But when I told her my name, the date, and the delivery complications, she went quiet. You were the emergency C-section, right? The one whose sister was in the waiting room? My breath caught. Yes. She hesitated again. I remember, because it was strange. You went under and suddenly your sister was signing forms, taking charge. We were told she was your next of kin. She's not, I said. Marissa's voice trembled. I had a weird feeling. She seemed too involved, like she was expecting it. My skin crawled. Marissa lowered her voice. I shouldn't be telling you this, but there was a lot of confusion that night. Your baby was stable. I remember seeing his APGAR scores. He wasn't blue, he was crying. My heart stopped. Crying? But they told me he didn't make it. Marissa whispered, I don't know what happened after my shift ended, but something didn't add up. That evening, I went back to Emma's house, unannounced. She answered in a robe, surprised. What's wrong, Mia? I need to see the baby. She hesitated. He's sleeping. I won't wake him. I walked past her into the nursery. It was decorated almost exactly like mine. Same mobile, same lamp, same blanket. The one my mother had crocheted, with a tiny embroidered M in the corner. My legs buckled. Emma appeared behind me. Mia, please, it's not what you think. Tears filled my eyes. You stole him. She fell to her knees. I couldn't have children. You always had everything, and then you didn't even want him. I slapped her. Hard. She didn't flinch. He's mine, I whispered. Emma didn't deny it. Not once.